This is KSUT Public Radio, and regional news is next. The Interior Department says new rules for managing the Colorado River will come next week after years of negotiations. For the Mountain West News Bureau, Alex Hager reports that the agency brought 7 Western governors together this week for a last-minute round of talks.
Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs met with governors from the other states that use water from the Colorado River. It may have been an attempt to break a deadlock between those states, which can't agree about how to divide the shrinking water supply going forward. It's unclear if the meeting yielded any progress. A spokeswoman for Governor Hobbs declined to comment, but in a post on social media, the governor said she remains committed to ongoing negotiations, but steadfast in calling on Arizona's upstream counterparts to share the pain of shortages. The plan coming out next week is expected to deal big cuts to the water supply for cities in the valley. Alex Hager, Phoenix.
As federal subsidies that helped consumers purchase health insurance on regulated markets ended, many states saw declines in enrollment, except for one state, New Mexico. The Mountain West News Bureau's Jenny Kinsey has more on the difference there.
A year ago, almost 70,000 New Mexico consumers purchased health insurance under the Affordable Care Act. The newest numbers show a 14.5% increase, the highest in the country. Deanne Stock is the director of the New Mexico Health Authority's Coverage Bureau. She credits the state's Health Care Affordability Fund, which the legislature passed in 2021. It provides funds to help people bridge the gap to afford coverage.
So the focus of the fund is to keep premiums low and out-of-pocket costs low, allowing more New Mexicans to take advantage of healthcare coverage in New Mexico.
A bipartisan legislative effort helped pass additional monies for the fund earlier this year. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Jenny Kinsey in Albuquerque.
Summer monsoon rains are delivering much-needed moisture across the region, but as Rachel Cohen reports, they also mean the risk of floods and mudslides has increased.
Rain can quickly escalate to dangerous flooding in steep canyons, dry washes, or downstream of land recently scorched by wildfires. Jillian Felton is a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Grand Junction, Colorado.
With those burn scars, the soil can become hydrophobic, meaning that a lot of that water that falls into the soil is just going to run right off of it. So debris flows are a big concern.
Floodwaters this past weekend pushed mud and trees from the Cottonwood Fire in Utah down Beaver Canyon, forcing evacuations. Mudslides from heavy rains also disrupted travel in Colorado, closing portions of Interstate 70 and smaller roads. The National Weather Service warns more storms this week mean additional flood risk throughout the region. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Rachel Cohen.
Electric vehicles are increasingly part of the western landscape. Many traverse long rural highways that stretch for hundreds of lonely miles. For drivers, it can be a harrowing experience driving between chargers. The Mountain West News Bureau's Caleb Radel tags along for a summer road trip across Nevada in an EV in this feature story.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. How you doing?
Very good.
How's the trip going?
Trip's going amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
When I meet Scott Allison, he's halfway through a 6-day road trip around Nevada. He and his husband left their hometown of Las Vegas a few days earlier. Now they're making a stop in Reno before heading east towards some of the state's most remote highways. I ask him what it's like being an EV driver in the state.
that depends on how much Nevada you want to see.
We climb into his electric SUV and head toward Virginia City. From Las Vegas, Allison drove through California and up Highway 395, where chargers are plentiful. It wasn't the fastest route. That would have been taking Nevada's Highway 95. But the charging is sparse, Allison says.
There are a few chargers on that route, but there's like single point of failure. So if one is down, your trip is going to be messed up.
For Allison, those workarounds are part of traveling. And for state lawmakers, they're exactly what the system is trying to eliminate. But after the state lost more than $12 million in federal charging funds this year, expanding the network faces another hurdle. Nevada lawmaker Howard Watts says drivers face those gaps every time they leave major highways.
There is just really limited charging infrastructure. You know, some of the stations are not operational or fully reliable, and there's just not enough charging to allow people to easily move across the state.
Watts says that challenge is especially sharp in rural Nevada, where distances between towns can stretch past 100 miles. He adds that the lack of charging infrastructure doesn't just affect Nevada's EV drivers.
People are coming into Nevada from other states and want to get around in their electric vehicles. And if they have difficulty doing so, then that impacts our economies, whether it's in Las Vegas, Reno, or especially in our rural communities.
Industry groups working on electrified transportation say that experience of planning, rerouting, and uncertainty needs to change if EV adoption is going to scale. Lizzie Steers with Advanced Energy United says one of the biggest misconceptions is that EVs simply don't work outside cities.
EVs are absolutely up to the challenge and do the work. And so people might be surprised how plentiful the EV charging infrastructure already is around them, or how easy that would be to be in their life.
She says affordability is also central to adoption, especially when drivers look at the full cost of ownership.
If you look at all the elements that go into owning a vehicle, from that purchase cost, the fueling or charging costs, the maintenance costs, almost always now EVs will come out ahead and will have higher savings.
Back on the road, Scott says those trade-offs are part of learning how to travel differently in Nevada. Not every route is simple, but with enough planning, most of them are possible.
There's two types of EV drivers. The people who are in the know and do lots of planning and research like I do. And then there's probably a lot more who just jump in the car and go, and then don't realize until it's perhaps too late that they're going to get stranded.
And that tension between what works on paper and what works on the road is exactly what Nevada's EV future is still trying to resolve. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Caleb Radel.
You're listening to Regional News on KSUT Public Radio. Researchers are studying how wildfire smoke and other air pollutants are affecting our canine companions. Cheryl Magzaman, an epidemiologist at Colorado State University, said the research could better define air quality recommendations for dogs.
So we're trying to figure out these levels of safety and what you can do with your dog in a safe way that hopefully won't impair their health.
Magzaman said owners should consult alerts before taking their pets outside. Current recommendations for dogs align with the Federal Air Quality Index, advising reduced outdoor activities during poor air quality days. The study's first findings should be released in about a year. We'll wrap up this regional news segment here on KSUT with a story from the Colorado Capital News Alliance. The Democratic candidate Phil Weiser for governor has announced his running mate. And here's Benta Berkland with the story.
Jefferson County Commissioner Leslie Dahlkemper is nearing the end of her second term in office. Now she'll join Phil Weiser on the ticket. Dahlkemper has a master's degree in journalism and previously worked for the Colorado Education Initiative. She also was a reporter for CPR News in the late 90s and says journalism laid the foundation for her work.
Coming at issues with a curious mindset, it's analyzing information, it's taking complex issues and trying to communicate them in a way that connects with community members, but always beginning by listening first.
Weiser says he likes that Dahlkemper is very familiar with issues like wildfire risk, water conservation, and housing affordability. As for the Republican candidate, Victor Marks, he's not yet announced his running mate.
That was Benta Berkland reporting for the Colorado Capital News Alliance. Support for local and regional news on KSUT Public Radio is provided by the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority.
Support for public policy reporting comes from the Gay and Lesbian Fund for Colorado, promoting programs designed to ensure all Coloradans have the same opportunity to thrive. More information is online at gayandlesbianfund.org.
This is KUTE Ignacio, KDNG Durango, KUSW Flora Vista, and KPGS Pagosa Springs. We can also be heard in Farmington, Cortez, Mancos, Silverton. We're online at ksut.org.